We look at the public count here today, up $53,000, and we say, is this just a little tease, or are we back to flipping flapjacks? Because this market is all over the place. It doesn't know if it wants to go up, doesn't know if it wants to go down. Big tech stocks don't know if they want to see momentum again. They don't know if they want to start going down. It was a great day. I was feeling great out there, so I was big balling. I bought the new Big Arch. You guys seen this burger? It's gone viral all over the internet. If you're on the internet, you might have seen it. The Big Arch. It's the McDonald's new product. I bought this baby. $10. $10 for this thing, okay? Entree only. We're not talking fries. We're not talking soda. It was $10 for a McDonald's burger. That thing was a beast, so I got to say. First person to ever eat a Big Arch in a Ferrari. I did make that happen. And a big thank you to AMD stock, Amazon stock, Meta stock, and Palantir. Those stocks performed tremendous today. AMD up $27,000 in the public count today. Amazon up $12,000. Meta up $12,000. And Palantir up over $6,000 in the public count here today. If I look at the retail trader investor type stocks, I have those on a watch list here. Man, where they beasting today. Coinbase up 14.5%. MicroStrategy up 10%. AppLovin up 10%. Robinhood up 8%. Palantir was up. Hims up. I mean, they were all up except one little dingo. That one, unfortunately, was down out of all of those. Now, look at Carnival Cruise Lines. They're going through it. This stock's down 13% the past 5 trading days. From what I hear, Carnival Cruise Line does not hedge their oil. So, oil price has gone insane. No bueno for Carnival Cruise Line. Even a stock like Wynn Resorts has gotten hit pretty hard the past 5 trading days, down over 4%. You might say, why? Well, that's because they're building an epic property in the Middle East right now that's supposed to open in 2027. With everything that's going on in the Middle East, now people are assuming no one's going to travel to the Middle East. Travel's going to be way down. Not good that Wynn's going to open their property there next year. We'll see about all that, but the market's running some conclusions there, and that's why that stock down 4% plus in the past 5 trading days. 3 core subjects I want to speak about here today in this one. Number 1, what to do and how to make money. I'm going to show you how to make money even in a roller coaster of a stock market, even a stock market that downtrends. I'm going to show you in this video, okay? We're going to go through it. We'll talk about how to handle this market from a portfolio perspective. Number 2, a stock I want to buy heavy. We're going to get into that in this video here today. And this one's not SaaS related. You guys know I've been buying a lot of SaaS stocks heavy over the past month or two. This is not a SaaS company, okay? Number 3, my favorite travel stocks over the next 10, 20 years. We know the boomers are all reaching retirement age right now. They got a lot of money behind us. We all know that. They're going to be doing a lot of traveling over the next 10 to 20 years, right? Also, a lot of worldwide wealth will be accumulated over this next 10, 20 years. That means a lot of travel. As people get wealthier, what happens is a lot more travel. So travel is definitely a great industry for the next decade or two. And so we'll talk about some of my favorite travel stocks in that space. One thing only I need from you guys. I hope you would appreciate me doing these videos almost every single day, Monday through Friday for you guys. One thing all I need from you is just smash that little like button, hit that thumbs up icon. If you could do that, that means the world. That's all I need from you. Everybody that's already done it, thank you so much. And additionally, if you want to be subscribed to the channel, I think you can subscribe. It is free to do so. And I believe we're at 920,000 subscribers. Are you subscribed? If not, make sure you go ahead and do it. Free resource for you guys down there today. That will be the pinned comment. This is a test I put together last week for you guys, okay? And what this is going to do, it's going to tell you where you're actually at. Kind of almost like a fitness test, but this is for the stock market. It's going to tell you where you're actually at in your investing journey and like, are you doing great? Or you got a lot of work to do? And based upon how many of these questions, you can basically say correct or you don't know it, right? You know it or you don't know it. That will give you the results here. Over 500 people have gotten this so far. I just shouted out here in the past 24 to 48 hours. 500 people plus have gotten it. It's free to get it. It's pinned comment down there. Put in your email. It can send over the PDF via email, or if you want to receive it via text, can send it over that way as well. Okay. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let's get rolling here. Listen. Look at the public count over the past 3 years, okay? Fidelity gives you a great little chart. You can see your portfolio over the past 3 years, right? And this is looking at the public count. Public count started this portfolio back in 2018 inside my private stock group so they can see every single move I make each week, see how I build this portfolio up over time. We built this portfolio from nothing to now $3.6 million. This is through Fidelity Investments, right? And if you're part of my private group, you get to see the moves I make every single week in here, right? Now, look at the past 3 years. What do we see? It's been a tremendous past 3 years. 3 years ago, public count was just over $1 million, right? 1.2, maybe $1.3 million. And today it's $3.6 million. It's been a banger. But what do we also see when we look at this, okay? It's a big game of green light, red light, right? where the public account will go through weeks or many, many months where it's downtrends or basically goes sideways. Here in 2023, we had a good example of that. Here again, this looks like 2023 again, another big example of that. Look at how much time would have passed here. Remember, this is a 3-year chart. Look at how much time will have passed here when the public account was doing nothing. And it's just week by week, month by month was going by. And it's like, dude, public account's downtrending or doing nothing, right? And we had a huge time period right here. Did nothing or downtrended. A pretty big time period right here. And then we had a big time period right here. This was during the tariff drama of last year. I'm sure you guys remember that. And now we're in another one of those big time periods when the public account's downtrending and not doing a dang thing. And so big game of green light, red light. And despite all those time periods when the public account was asleep or downtrending, the public account still went from a little over $1 million to $3.6 million where it is today. So the moral of the story is here, folks, focus on the long term. The short term will be what the short term is going to be. There's going to be time periods when your portfolio stagnates or downtrends for months, maybe even a year, maybe even 2 years. And you have to be okay with that. You have to say, I'm at peace with that. If my portfolio is stagnant for 2 to 3 years, I can take that. I'm a big boy. I'm a big girl. That's okay. That's fine. As long as you got your income and expenses in a good place, you're there to buy every single month, if not every single week or two, right? That's a big key. Always finding great deals in the market, taking advantage of those great deals, and be okay if your portfolio stagnates for a while. Don't freak out, buy the dip, and don't trip. It's an easy game, man. The stock market can be a very easy game unless you have no patience. If you have no patience, guess what? The stock market has no patience for you. Get out. You don't belong here. The ones that win in this game over time have incredible patience. If the public count is still $3 million 3 years from now, I'm okay with that. I can deal with that. I'm building the public count for the next 10, 20, 30 years. If the public count says $10 million 3 years from now, I'm okay with that. Whatever happens is what happens. All I know is I'm here to do my job, and my job is to buy great companies at great prices and watch them appreciate over time. I cannot dictate whether the stock market goes up tomorrow, next week, next month, whether we have a crash, whether we have a boom. It's going to be what it's going to be. I need to focus on what I need to focus on, right? When I was first kind of looking in the stock market, one of my dad's customers, he had a pool cleaning business, right? And so I remember she said, the stock market's like a roller coaster, right? I think she was a former financial advisor. She said, stock market's like a roller coaster. And listen, she was 100% correct. The stock market is like a roller coaster. Now, like a roller coaster, some people go on it and they say, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. That was a good time. I would love to go on a roller coaster again in the future, right? And some say, I'm never doing that. Some never even get on the roller coaster. That's not for them. Or they might do it one time, like, I'll never again am I getting on another roller coaster again, right? And that's fine. Some of you guys, most of you guys watching this video right now, you're cut out for it. You're ready for the roller coaster ride. You think it's fun. Other people, they're like, no, I can't do it. I can't. It's fine. It's not for everybody. I understand. I get it. There's no shame in that game, right? Now, Warren Buffett, he's been investing for about 80 years now at this point in time. He bought his first stock at age 11, I'm guessing, through his dad, in 1942. Do you remember what was going on in 1942? I think it was something called World War II. Oh my gosh, there was that thing that happened, right? During World War II. Now think about all the craziness that has happened in Buffett's investing journey. From World War II to the Cold War to all the other wars. I mean, I don't even want to list them all. There's a lot of them, right? To 9/11, to Rona. I mean, gosh, you just go through all the craziness that has happened since Buffett bought his first stock in 1942. It's unbelievable when you think about just all the history that has happened since that time period, right? I bought my first stock during the great financial crisis. That was a pretty crazy time. Maybe not as crazy as World War II, but it was a pretty crazy time. Stock market was crashing. People were getting kicked out of their homes, and Mortgage crisis, it was a mess. Biggest actually probably only real housing bust we've ever had in modern history in the United States of America. Like, that's a pretty much once in a generation event that happened there. Unbelievable. And there's been a lot of other crazy stuff that's happened just in my little investing journey. And I call it little. It spans 17 years, but it's little when you compare it to Buffett, right? And so just understand what ended up being Buffett's end result, right? Buffett's end result ended up being one of the richest people in the history of the world. Look at my end result of just what has happened over the last 17 years. Like, it's been incredible. Without the stock market, you think I would have the sort of homes I have and, drive the sort of cars and live the sort of lifestyle I have. Without the stock market the past 17 years, there's no way any of this is possible. Not without the stock market for me, right? No, you want to know how to always make money in the stock market. I'll show you. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. You want to always make money in the stock market, regardless if it goes up or down? Own dividend-paying stocks. There's a reason I talk about GVD, growth value dividends. Building a portfolio comprised of growth stocks, value stocks, and dividend stocks. All of them play their part at different times. If the stock market doesn't go up this year, I'm still going to make a ton of money from stocks. Do you know why? I own a lot of dividend stocks. This is just the public count. This does not include any of my private portfolios or the Patreon portfolio, any of that. This is just the public count. This does not include any of these companies that are going to up their dividends this year either, which many of these companies will likely up their dividends and pay me even a bigger amount than it says right here, right? Nike will pay me $5,466 in dividends this year. Cheesecake Factory will pay me $3,900 in dividends this year. Estee Lauder is going to pay me $2,497. Meta is going to pay me $2,100. Salesforce is going to pay me $1,760. PayPal is going to pay me $1,680. Good thing they pay a dividend, because Lord knows we can never make money on that stock, right? American Express pays me $1,170. I guess I make some dividends from my Tesla hedge, right? And Google McDougal will pay me $186, right? And so then you think about all my private portfolios and all the dividend income from that. I'll easily clear, what are we thinking here? Tens of thousands of dollars this year in dividend income between my different portfolios. Not bad, right? Now, of course, this didn't happen overnight. It's been building for 17 years, right? In terms of all my portfolios, and then the public count's been building since 2018, so it's taken a while to get here. But the moral of the story is here, you want to continue to build and you want to make money regardless of the market conditions. Dividend stocks is your way. And guess what? If the market's downtrending and I'm making all this dividend money, I can go take that money and buy more great companies at very cheap prices. So this is a way you can definitely protect your portfolio and put you in a position where you don't just have to worry about income and expenses, right? Another way is hedges. Now, this might not be for everybody, but just understand there's ways you can hedge your portfolio. There's a lot of different ways. I have a great video inside the private group that, that video is probably nearly an hour long, just going into a bunch of different hedging strategies. One I'm utilizing this year is TSLZ, which is a 2x leverage against Tesla. The reason I'm using that is if the NASDAQ were to get hit hard in any substantial way, right, which might not happen, but if it were to, Tesla stock usually gets hit much more dramatically. There's 2x leverage against that. So let's say NASDAQ goes down 10%, right? TSLZ could easily go down 20 or 30%, because Tesla usually goes down much more than the NASDAQ during a downtrending market, and then your 2x leverage against that, it could appreciate 40%. Next thing you know, I'm sitting on tens of thousands of dollars of profits on this that then I can sell out of during a downtrending market and then pour that into stocks that are very, very cheap, right? So hedging, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. This is one I chose for this year. And hedges, a lot of times I end up making money from them. And if I don't, that's okay as well, because if I don't, it's usually the market went beast mode, went up substantially. And so it's like hedging usually is done with little money, and my big money's in long positions. So, net, it ends up being like, if you told me would I rather have the NASDAQ go down 10% or up 10%, well, if the NASDAQ goes up 10%, like my positions are going to appreciate massively. Public count probably goes to 4.5 mil, maybe $5 million in that environment, right? TSLZ, that'll likely go the wrong way. It's possible it still could go up if Tesla's stock was just being weak, but usually if NASDAQ's going up, Tesla's going up as well. So yeah, you say, okay, I lose money on these, end up having to sell out for a loss. That's fine, because the public count would have gained $1 million or so, right? So, take some, give some, right? No, this is something I get a lot, right? So people say, how do you you stay so calm during the market drama? And I see comments all the time when the market's going through drama about people appreciate the videos and it keeps them level-headed. And, because they're just going crazy about the market, especially for a lot of newer investors that are in their first year or two investing, right? Here's how I stay calm. One, I've been in the game 17 years. I've been through a lot of ups and downs. I started during the great financial crisis. Keep in mind, during the great financial crisis, the indexes fell 50+%. That almost never, ever happens. And I went through that. That's when I started, right? Crazy times. We had the Rona crash, right? The Rona crash was the fastest stock market crash in history. S&P 500 fell I think it fell 35% in a snap of fingers. It was insane, right? And then it was into a V-shaped recovery, right? We had end of 2018, which was very, very painful. We've had a lot of crazy stuff, right? So 17 years of experience definitely helps out immensely, right? And then all my studying of prior time periods also helps, right? And second thing is I also stay calm because I got all my bases covered. I own great companies that make it through the storms, usually are in great income statements, great balance sheets, great cash flows. They're not it's question mark if this company even makes revenue or they're going to go out of business or something like that, right? And then I own my dividend stocks, so I'll always have money poured into the portfolios. I got more income than expenses. I got some hedges. I got all my bases covered. Send the stock market up a bunch, great. Flatline the stock market, great. I buy more companies for cheaper prices, have the market crash, great. Then I get to buy stocks for insane cheap prices, and my hedges go insane. And all that dividend money pours in, and I get to buy during downtimes with dividend money as well. It's beautiful. So regardless, I got my bases covered across the board. Now, if you're a new investor, it's hard to get your bases covered all at once. You do that over time period. And all of a sudden over a few year period, all of a sudden you're like, dude, I don't care what happens to the market, right? And you're in your first year or two, you get stressed. You're worried because you probably don't have your bases covered and you haven't been through it. You haven't been experienced enough, right? And you might not have seen the success, right? I've seen the success, right? I've gone on the vacations. I've lived in the homes. I drove the cars. I bought the things. I went to the fancy restaurants. I did it all. I've seen the success. If you're a new investor, you might not see the success yet. And so that makes you second guess it, right? Because you haven't seen it yet. Once you experience the success part of it, I think it all gets a lot easier. And so just, make it long enough so you can actually feel that part and you'll be like, oh, shoot, yeah, this game is pretty fun, right? Next thing up here, understand the market is short-term drama. I'm showing you seasonal patterns just from the past few years in the market. I see a whole bunch of drama there, right? A whole bunch of huge upward moves where the market moves up 6% in a month, right? I see some dramatic moves of market moves down 9% in a month, 8% in a month. It's a drama show, short-term. But at the end of the day, the stock market is a huge moneymaker long-term. We know that. It's a huge moneymaker long-term. So just understand short-term drama, long-term success, right? No pain, no gain. No, I posted this inside my private stock group. If you ever want to apply, join my private stock group, by the way. That is always linked in the description area down there. I said, what do we do? I posted this a couple hours ago. I said, what do we do in a roller coaster or a down market? 1, research work. Put in the work. Control what you can control. You can control if the market or your stock goes up short term. That's going to be what that's going to be. Put in the research work. You can control if you listen to conference calls. You can control if you're running projections on 1000xstocks.com. You can control if you're looking at valuations, if you're grading income statements and balance sheets. You can control all that. That's up for you, right? Number 2, buy more shares of great companies and increase ownership stake. Number 3, enjoy the ride and all the twists and turns. Do that, okay? When I moved to Las Vegas in 2015, I moved into this community, Summit at Sunridge, Henderson, okay? We moved into a 3-bedroom apartment. The apartment was around 1,200 square feet or so. At that time, I only had one child. He was about 1 year old, or maybe not even 1 year old, and moved in there with my wife. Now I have 3 kids, by the way, and lived in that apartment. Very close to that apartment was this unbelievable community. And I remember driving by this community when I'd go to the gym. There was a gym I used to go to. It was EOS Fitness, okay? And in order to get to that gym, I had to drive by this one specific community. And, it was just gorgeous. It had these homes on this mountain, and they overlooked the whole city. And I just looked at those homes, and they're just gorgeous, right? And looked into this community, and it's just like billionaires lived in this community, and people with such high net worths, and oh my gosh, it was just like guard-gated community, just gorgeous, right? And next week, I get keys to my house that I'm building right in that community, right? So think about where I came from in 2015, from that 3-bedroom apartment to now getting the keys to the house we've been building in that community. And took over a decade to do it, right? Didn't happen overnight. It was over a decade in the making, but it did end up happening in the end, right? And so just understand, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But if you want to get to places, you got to what? You got to have patience and you got to put in the work. If you don't have the patience, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game for you. If you don't want to put in the work, it's going to be a tough game for you, okay? So just understand it's all out there for you, whatever your dreams, whatever you want to succeed out there, whatever you want to do, right? For me, that was a big goal. Like, I always loved that community. I always thought, man, it'd be amazing to have a house that overlooks the whole city, right? And now I'm going to have one. And for you, it might be different. Maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to retire early. Maybe you want to start a business and you want money to do that, right? Maybe you just want to take care of your family. Like, there's a million different reasons why. But understand you can do it. You can absolutely do it. But it's going to take time and it's going to take a lot of work, right? Do keep that in mind. But always keep the faith. Always keep the faith. Number 2, let's talk about a stock I want to buy. Heavy. And no, it's not actually a SaaS stock, because I have been buying those ones very heavy the last couple months here now at this point in time. Then we'll get into my favorite travel stocks. Okay. Certain companies have an unbelievable moat around those businesses, okay? Unbelievable. Where these sorts of companies they're almost impossible to compete directly with. You can try, but they are just, you can't tear these companies apart. Let's say I started a retail store selling clothing, right? Hard to have a moat around that. Let's say I come up with some genius strategy and it's really working. Like, buy 3 pairs of jeans, get 2 pairs of jeans free. And I've priced them so perfectly that somehow I do this. Well, anybody can copy that and anybody can sell jeans, right? Walmart can sell jeans and Target can sell jeans and every department store in the mall can sell jeans. It's not I don't have a moat around that business. And if my little hack is selling 3 jeans and you get 2 free, anybody that sees that can then go copy that same exact model, right? There's no moat around that business model. There's no moat, right? This certain company has an unbelievable moat, and it is AXP, American Express. I want to buy every share in sight of this company and hold it for the next 5-10 years. Now, to put it into context, how strong of a moat this company has, okay? I want to show you something that I think you're going to find fascinating. Do you know what Warren Buffett's second biggest investment is in his portfolio? It is a company named American Express. Now, Buffett is a very famous investor, not just because of his net worth and because of his success, but because of his understanding of a moat around a business and how a business can succeed for decades. Because Buffett is thinking about taking stocks to the grave, right? And I don't mean that just because he's like 90-something years old now. I mean, that's the way he's always thought about it. He thinks way longer term than even I do. I'm thinking about companies really for the next, I would say, 3 to 7 years, right? Buffett's thinking about the next 37 years. There's a difference, right? He's like super duper long-term investor. I'm a long-term investor. He's thinking like, yeah. So when he buys a company, he's got to have looked in that business and had an understanding that they have a moat around the business that you just can't beat, right? And if you look at his biggest investments, gosh, they really do. Apple is just, sure, there's a lot of companies that make smartphones, but at the end of the day, Apple, we just know their moat is incredible, right? American Express we'll talk about more in a moment. Coca-Cola. I mean, sure, anybody can make, soda, but gosh, can you really compete with Coca-Cola and their distribution and their pricing and their marketing, right? And their install base, which is their customer base for those products? You just can't, right? Bank of America, Chevron, like these companies are incredible, right? And the moats. Warren Buffett's, keep in mind, he's been deleveraging, if anything, or I don't want to say deleveraging, but selling out of positions, and yet he's still held American Express very strong as he owns 22% plus of the company. I wouldn't be surprised if Buffett starts buying more American Express stock. We'll see what happens, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up looking at it and being like, I got to buy more shares of this stock, right? Now, I wanted AI to show you guys how strong of a moat this is so you guys could really understand this, okay? And what makes American Express have such a strong moat and why this is a great company you can buy and hold for the next 5, 10, 15 years, right? closed loop network and data advantage. Amex controls the consumer and merchant sides of the transaction. This allows them to collect valuable data on spending habits, resulting in personalized, high-value rewards that attract affluent customers and consequently premium merchants willing to pay higher fees. Premium brand and affluent customer base. Amex has established a reputation as a premium brand with a cardholder base that tends to be wealthier and more resilient during economic downturns. This demographic provides high-speed density, meaning lower credit risk and higher transaction revenue for Amex. 100%, right? If we think about when I lived in that 3-bedroom apartment in 2015 when I first moved to Vegas, guess what? I was not an American Express customer back then. Like, it just wasn't a company that spoke to me, right? Nowadays, I am an American Express customer. I have a gold card. My wife has the platinum card or whatever that is, and we're American Express customers, right? They understand how to market and how to get you once you make it, right? Whether that be to have a good job or whether that be when your net worth climbs immensely, right? Unique value proposition and ecosystem. The company invests heavily in perks, travel, dining, and entertainment. Guess what? Things that people with money like, right? This creates a high-value ecosystem, making it hard for users to switch to competitors. This is reinforced by partnerships with luxury brands and businesses that want to access higher-spending Amex clientele. Vertical integration issuer plus network. By acting as both the card issuer and the payment network, unlike Visa and MasterCard, Amex earns revenue from both annual fees interest as a lender and merchant swipe fees as a network, creating a diversified, robust revenue stream, right? Because you can get a Visa card and you could be like, that credit card could be through, many different companies, and you get a Visa card, right? It's a very different business model than somebody like a Visa or MasterCard, right? And there's debates on what's better. Is it Visa? I actually feel like, believe it or not, I actually feel like Amex has a stronger moat around it than Visa, even though Visa is a much bigger company. But I actually feel like because Amex controls both sides of things, I actually think Amex has a stronger moat around the business. With over 150 million cards in force and a vast network, the system becomes more valuable to both parties the more it is used, which acts as a barrier to entry for new competitors. I mean, I use my Amex for basically everything. It's a pain in the butt if anywhere I can't use my Amex. And honestly, the only place I think of that I ever go to and I haven't been able to use my Amex is, guess where? Think about it for a moment. Costco. Costco is the one place. It annoys me when I try to use it at Costco and it's like, it doesn't work. I'm like, seriously? And by the way, back in the day, they used to have a very close relationship, those two. But yeah, now Amex, you can't use it at Costco nowadays. So it's very frustrating. But the moral of the story is, Amex, very, very powerful in the end, right? We're looking at 1000xstocks.com here. Look at American Express's revenue chart over time. Look at this is where we're at right now on a 12-month basis on earnings per share. Look at where we're expected to go. Why? Well, the company's increasing their net income and will continue to for the next few years. Simultaneously, they're buying back a lot of shares, which means your earnings per share up and away. This is looking at American Express's, looking at operating income here, right? This is looking at shareholder equity here. Look at shares outstanding. Shares outstanding for American Express, down. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see this number going up when it comes to shares outstanding. That means you're being diluted as a shareholder. This means your ownership position is getting bigger, right? Obviously, balance sheet's very strong for the type of company it is, right? Forward P on the stock, 17. I think it's way too low. For a company with this sort of business model, I just think with the sort of moat around it, I don't think a forward P of 17 is right. This is a sort of company that should trade forward P in the mid-20s. That's why I want to pick up every share in sight right now, because I believe this stock is very undervalued. Should trade in the mid-20s to maybe even potentially high 20s forward P, and we're down here at 17. So we're in the teens. Too low. Alrighty, next up here, let's talk about my favorite travel stocks. And we're thinking about these stocks really for the next 10, 20 years. Because the boomer demographic is all reaching retirement age right now. Some have already retired. Many are going to be retiring over the next decade, essentially, right? Specifically, really over the next 5 years, I would say, really heavy. These boomers have accumulated a lot of wealth. They have a lot of wealth in real estate. They have a lot of wealth in the stock market. And they also have a lot in T-bills, right? And bonds, just bonds in general, right? We all know that. The boomers are the richest generation we've ever seen. And, people like to make jokes about boomers bought, a home back in the day for a sack of potatoes, and now it's worth $500,000, right? Like, people make all these jokes about that, but they make those jokes because boomers are loaded. We know that. The boomers are going to go on lots of vacations over the next 10 to 20 years. Lots of vacations. Because what do? You got all this money, you're retired, play golf, go on vacation, go out to restaurants, stuff like that. Like, you're going to likely enjoy your money, especially while you still have health. If your health deteriorates enough, like, obviously, well, then you just end up spending money on healthcare, unfortunately. But for the boomers that are going to be in good health the next 10, 20 years with money, they're going to be going on a lot of trips and enjoying life, right? Living their best life. So what are some of the companies I really love? Well, my number one favorite stock in travel by a mile is this one. It is Wynn Resorts. It's not even close. Whenever you can get the stock under 100, it's a great deal. If the further you can get under 100, it's a steal deal, right? I love Wynn Resorts. It's a good combo of growth because they got the Middle East property coming online. Additionally, we're thinking about it in terms of a value dividend stock as well. It usually doesn't trade very rich, especially if you take into account, like, usually the PE ratio is not very high on the stock, but then when you take into account they have a bunch of depreciation and amortization in those numbers all the time that make the earnings look less. If you were to think about it more on like an adjusted EBITDA basis, oh gosh, then it's really, really attractively priced. And keep in mind, they run all this crazy depreciation every year. Usually it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I can make a case that their properties don't even depreciate. I can make a case that their properties, if anything, are appreciating. Like the Wynn Palace, they paid, oh gosh, how much did they pay to build that property? I think it was $4 billion. I can't remember the specific number. $4 billion. I think the Wynn Palace is still worth $4 billion. The Wynn and Encore here in Vegas, I believe their total investment in those properties was $5.5 billion, I want to say. Maybe $6 billion. I think they're worth easily that today. And those properties were built back in 2006 and 2009 in terms of opening the door. Maybe it was 2005 and 2009. Those properties are still worth, in my opinion, just as much as when they were built, if not a lot more. Could you imagine trying to build and replicate the Wynn and Encore nowadays with today's building cost? How much more expensive everything's gotten, including the land cost on the Strip? So that's a big factor I think is way overlooked with Wynn stock. Additionally, attracts the high-end clientele, which I love. Now, obviously, with prediction markets and Kalshi and Polymarket and all these things, and in gambling services online, all that stuff, you could look at a stock like Wynn and be like, I'm scared because people do a lot of online stuff now. Listen, man, like Joe, placing a $10 bet on the basketball game tonight, he's just not Wynn's customer base, okay? Wynn's customer base, these guys are dropping big money, right? Like, these guys are playing blackjack for $1,000 a hand, $10,000 a hand, right? There's a different level there. And those people that drop that sort of money, they don't want to just do it on their phone. They want to actually go to the place, enjoy life. They want to be surrounded by beautiful women. They want to be comped at the best restaurants in town, right? Have meals that they couldn't imagine. Get bottle service at the club. They want to live the life, right? If you're going to drop that sort of money, you might as well go to the place that's going to treat you like you dropped that money rather than just playing on your phone, right? And so you got to understand there's a different level of clientele. And I always tell people, if you really want to understand the Wynn and their business model, go to the Wynn, stay there, go to the casino, go to the restaurants, and you'll start to understand, okay, this is a different way of living over here, right? And so that's what their properties really do. They cater to a high-end clientele. You're not worried about, if these people are being hit by inflation a little bit, because that's not their customer base. The customer base is really, people that their customer base is really the top 10% of wealthy in the world and the top 10% of income earners in the world. That's Wynn's clientele base. And people that like to spend big money gaming. Because if you are the type that you like to gamble, right, the Wynn's the place to do it. Because they're going to usually treat you the best. And you're going to have the best experiences. And so, that's just bottom line in regards to that. And so Wynn's a great stock. Love that one. Love that one. Number 2 of travel that is my favorite is Las Vegas Sands. This one's not nearly as much of a favored one to me as Wynn is, but I still like Las Vegas Sands. They have some incredible properties, including the Singapore property, the Marina Bay Sands. That's a one-on-one property. That's what I'm hoping Wynn's able to do in the Middle East with creating a property that's just like, is incredible, right? And that's really what they've been able to do in Singapore with the Marina Bay Sands. It's one of the most successful properties in the history of the world. And Also, they have I would say a dominant share in Macau as well. Whereas Wynn's definitely successful in Macau and they make a lot of money and they got a lot of VIPs in Macau, but Sands is just a little bit of a different level in Macau when it comes to the amount of revenue because they have just so many rooms in Macau, right? And so I definitely like Las Vegas Sands. Once again, not as much as Wynn. Las Vegas Sands doesn't really have a strip presence anymore now at this point in time because they sold the Palazzo on the strip years ago and the Venetian as well to another company. So they're not really a player in Las Vegas anymore. And so it's kind of funny the company's still called Las Vegas Sands. But the moral of the story is Las Vegas Sands, I do like that one, just not nearly as much as Wynn. Number 3, I like Carnival Cruise Line. Carnival Cruise Line, now obviously this is not a stock that's going to be in favor right now because of the whole oil situation. And, if they're not hedging their oil, that could affect earnings over the next year. So just keep that in mind. But I do like it as a stock overall if we're thinking about it for the next 10, 20 years. Woo! We know the boomers. They love to go on cruises, and there's going to be a lot of cruises to go on over the next many years, right? Also, Carnival Cruise Line does a great job of being a budget-friendly cruise operator where a family can go on a cruise for, honestly, less than $1,000, right? And, husband, wife, take the kids on a little, 3-day cruise or whatever, and you can do it for less than $1,000. And there's not a lot of vacations, and everything's included in that, right? You get the food, the drink, all that. There's not a lot of vacations nowadays that you can take a family for, 3 nights and do it for less than $1,000. It's just not, especially if you want a cool experience, which obviously going on a cruise is pretty cool. You're just, all over the ocean and go down to Mexico likely, out of Long Beach. You can do something out of Miami and go down to an island or something like that. It's hard to take a family on a decent vacation. And I think a lot of people have a lot of fun and kids have a lot of fun on those cruises as well. So they do a good job of, I think, attracting a lot of boomers that will be going on vacations over the next 10, 20 years and also doing a great job of attracting the kids. My number 4 is Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean usually has a little smaller dividend yield than Carnival and also trades a little richer on a PE basis than somebody like a Carnival. So usually I like Carnival Cruise Line better. However, Royal Caribbean does a great job. Their ships are incredible. And they also do a good job of attracting, I think, a little bit higher end clientele than somebody like a Carnival attracts, right? And so they're definitely a beneficiary as well. So they're probably my number 4. Outside of that, I don't like anything else in travel. I don't, Airbnb's okay. I don't really like it. The companies that like Booking and those sorts of companies, they're okay, but I actually worry about those potentially being disrupted a little bit by AI over the coming years. So, I just like those 4 companies. If I'm going to buy anything in travel, it's going to be those. But Wynn Resorts is the leader by a mile, in my opinion. Okay, I appreciate you joining me for today's video. I hope you learned a lot from this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the stock talk, all that good stuff. I appreciate you. Pin comment down there is going to be that free resource. Take the test, see where you're actually at in your investing journey, and see if you're investing legend already at this point in time, right? 500 plus people have gotten it. You'll be next. That will be pinned comment. Much love and have a great day.